So, like I said, I never even told my parents. I never even told so many people. They don't see me as a strong man, normal man. You know, part of leadership is for you not to frighten your supporters. Because if your supporters know that things are wrong, then they begin to behave anyhow. So I have to keep it to myself. Then the transition, you know, one must thank God that I succeeded, or we succeeded in having a smooth transition. None of you, most people don't know what happened and why I must continue to appreciate and thank God. Ask my colleagues how they feel that their choice or their party candidates didn't make it as their successors. How they feel. When I read on pages of newspapers, even those who have not been sworn in, just governor-elect, they started tormenting their outgoing predecessor. They have not been sworn in. They are just answering governor-elect. You can imagine that and see where I am. Nobody is tormenting me. Not that even if you are tormented, you cannot defend yourself. But that's not the point. The point is that having that calm mind, having that after these 8 years, that you will still have another problem, is something that you must thank God. But my own was very clear. The gang up from up to down. In our state here, we all agreed, I paid for every form. I paid. Nobody will say as he paid for any form to run for governorship. Nobody will say so. Nobody will say that he paid 1 naira to buy for House of Reps form. Nobody will say he paid 1 naira to buy assembly form. Nobody will say he paid 1 naira to buy Senate form. They're all here. They're all here. They didn't say so. I paid. But in our team, we agreed that, look, we know that in this election we are going in, we are going to face federal government. That is Senate presidents, their party. So it is better we work as a team and not to divide ourselves. They all agreed. That's why you see in the House of Assembly, only 1 form. In the Senate, only 1 form. Each of the senatorial districts is one form. So nobody will say that you spend money to run for primaries. No. We said, look, we'll do so that we won't have anything called pre-election cases and the rest. And everybody agreed. The governorship forms, which I paid for, the elders met. O.C. Jokoja, SN, he was one who drafted the agreement. I think O.C. is there. I saw him here. I think O.C. is there. He drafted the agreement where everybody signed that the moment the elders choose one person that they are going to support, all of them signed. Now when somebody was choosing, come and see gang up. Come and see gang up. They all moved to Abuja. Started plotting how I will be arrested when they win at the national level. I said, God, you are the one that is in charge. But now God may have it. Left, I won. Right, I won. Center, I won. So I told them, now I remain in Abuja permanently. See, all evil plots against me all failed. all failed. So why wouldn't I thank God? Why wouldn't I appreciate God? Some of you who are close to me were worried. Say, well, what are we going to do? Even some of those whom I told how to operate, they said, this kind of risk our guy is taking. It's a very big risk. We are finished. We are finished. I said, don't worry, have faith. You will not be finished. Know how we started this since from 2014, 2015. So why do you think now that God will abandon us? And God never abandoned the...
So while I want to go to His Highness with regards to the question on agreements, governors, succession, and the impact on the people, and perhaps what sort of agreement and how we can learn from this for the future of River State.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, we are talking about constitutional government. In the constitutional government, the constitution guides the operations of the government. Whatever agreement you have outside the constitution is null and void. Whatever promise you make outside the constitution is null and void. The constitution empowers the governor to run the state. It did not say, oh, consult A or B in doing so. There are constitutional bodies also that can advise the governor, and not the agreement you had. No agreement stands in politics. This is a known fact. The former governor himself made promises to Mr. Jonathan and Mr. former President Jonathan what and what he would do. But did he do it? Did he honor them? Did he respect them? He rather took Mr. Jonathan's father's house, demolished it. Is that the agreement you're talking about? So the issue is today we are talking about in River State is not agreement. What we are talking about is good governance. We need the governor to rule River State in a manner that he will have something to say in future. He must have a legacy for himself. At the same time, he will improve the lives of the people in River State. Not a situation where only one local government is developed out of 23 local government and you say you are developing River State. Okay. That's not what we want. Okay. So whatever agreement they had is wrong. It's not proper. It's not known to us. It's not known to the public. What is known to the public is the constitutionality of who a governor should be. Okay. That is one aspect. On the issue of the House of Assembly. Now, the House of Assembly have not been able to come up with one crime SIM committed. They've not been able to say, oh, SIM did this, SIM did that. They have not said so. And there was nothing like a rift between them except a directive that was given, remove him. So military, we're not an authoritative government. This is democracy, and democracy are process. Okay. For you to impeach a governor, there are processes. And you have to serve the governor. That is one side. On the issue of the speaker, they said 26 of them impeached the former majority leader who was obstructing them and who started the process of impeaching the governor. Another 26 out of 30-something members. Another 26 came out today and said, yesterday, and said, no, we have impeached the former speaker for mutiny and perfidy and other crimes. And so they have sacked the former House officers, including the speaker. It's between the confinement of the House of Assembly. It's not the duty of the governor to do that. Because if they see that what they did was wrong, they retrace their step. And I think today they are standing behind the governor. Those that are not standing behind the governor are those that were suspended by the same House of Assembly for their illegal action. And so we don't see anything wrong in River State as to what happens in the state. And the former people did not have a maze to use, but the people who elected the speaker as a maze, which is the authority of the House, to say, look, we are sitting as a member of the House with a maze. And again, let me say legality. Legality. The governor knows who is the speaker. The governor deals with who is the speaker. We have the instances in Edo State. And these are things that everybody knows. So we have no problem. We are watching the scene.
Okay, Your Highness. So for the sake of the right of fair hearing, because Mr. Wike is not here, can you please prove all the allegations you made just now for the reason for the problem? Because you said Mr. Wike was asking about contracts. He had given contracts prior to this time that Mr. Fubara will have to speak. You talked about travel. He doesn't want him to travel. Can you please prove all of these allegations, that you have made against Mr. Wike this morning? Because apart from just, let's just mute things, let's also be able to direct people to proof so that we can get the fact of the matter. Can you please prove? And for you, sir, Mr. Terry Nwala, you keep talking about high-handedness and godfatherism of Mr. Wike. But can I ask you a honest question? If Mr. Wike, as you claim, has become a godfather in Rivers State and high-handed, can't the people object to it? So is it that the people too are also complicit? Because you say he brought Governor Fubara in and he won an election. So is it that whatever he lorded over them, they accept? In talking about godfatherism, I want you to also explore the idea of the complicity of the people in all of this. But sir, I will come to you, sir, Your Royal Highness first. Can you please prove all of these allegations you've made? Are there further things we need to know? Your Royal Highness.
Well, I don't need to prove it. These are known facts. They are always in the social media. Everybody knows. The former governor, out of 16 commissioners, the governor was allowed to produce only one, while the former governor produced 15. As a governor, you cannot appoint your CSO. The former governor appointed your CSO. The former governor appointed the chief of staff. All the appointments that has been given were made by the former governor. These are known facts by everybody. And that is why it is very painful to them when the governor says, I dissolve the ESCO. That is one aspect. Two, you hardly see the governor attending meetings of governors, either PDP or anywhere, because the instruction is you should not go out. You rather see deputy governor attending and not the governor. The governor is not using the state plane, which is a known fact, because he would not like not to travel. It is the former governor that will use the plane owned by the state. These are known to everybody. In terms of seeing the governor seeing people, you cannot just see people unless you have permission from the former governor. These are known to every river son and daughters. So as regards whether we have been protesting, this protest has been on. I have personally come out severally to ask the former governor to allow this young man to rule. They're on record. We have been talking, allow this man to rule. Before he became a minister, the former governor have to report in his house every morning to take directives from him, as if he's the de facto governor. And in godfatherism, if you look at the history of Godfather, there are principles that they applied. The Godfather don't control everything. They only give directions and allow you to operate. So what happened in Rivers State is like we are caged. The state was caged. It happens a time when I came out outburst and said, leave this boy alone. If this is we are not seen, why will I come? And why did they not counter me? There was nobody who countered me. I challenge Wike to counter me. Let him come out. If it's possible, we face one-on-one. Let him say what I'm saying is not true. These are the facts that is known to everybody. Maybe when you have opportunity to speak to the governor, maybe we hear from him. Or those close to him. I am not in his government, but as an elder statesman, I happen to be involved in things that will improve the lives of
Your Royal Highness, you also talked about contracts. Can you expatiate on that? You said some contracts have been signed.
Let me give you one.
And state funds.
I will just give you one example. I'll give you one example. Governor Wike said by himself that before he left, he has planned the road, the ring road with Julius Berger. Unfortunately, time was not on his side, and so the present governor side. How much is that road? Almost 200 billion naira. A governor coming to office, you are giving him a project of 200 billion naira. This is not a project the governor planned. And there are things, small things we can do, what 200 million can do. If you invest 200 million in all the LGA, 10 billion in all the LGA, you can see how far it will go. But you have no option. And the directive is pay them in advance. And most of the contracts he awarded, they were paid before even the contract was done. These are known facts for the River State. And when he was even commissioning that road, his speech was very clear to everybody. So let him now come back to deny. Although in Nigeria, anything he can deny. He was calling APC as cancer, that he would not go to APC as cancer.
Okay.
That is in malaria, PDP malaria.
So,
but today, where is he? So people can talk with two different ways.
Do you have any...
But what you are saying that is...
Do you have any proof on the state allocation as regards certain amounts and state allocation being sent to certain parties? Do you have proof on that? You want to talk about that before I move to Mr. Thierry Wala?
I am not part of the government, but... Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying, sir.
I said I am not part of the government. But these are visible things that everybody see. The governor has not even done thank you talk of the state. He's waiting for permission to go ahead.
Okay.
To do thank you talk.
Okay, so
these are things you will smell. If there's a good food around there, if somebody is cooking a good soup, the odor of the soup will tell you what they are cooking.
Okay.
If somebody is cooking bad soup, the odor of the soup will tell you what they are cooking. I'm not part of their government.
Okay.
And I'm an activist. I observe and I speak out. I expect them to say, challenge me, that what you are speaking out is a lie.
Okay.
Then we can go further to prove.
Okay, so you've stated your part. Mr. Thierry Wala, the complicity of the people in godfatherism.
Okay. Let me say this, first of all, before I even talk about the role of Wike in caging River State the way he has caged River State. First of all, let me say Governor Wike is a creation of Rivers people. Because there were times Wike's high-handedness in River State, some of us cried out and shouted over some of the illegal things he was doing. Because it was against the APC at the time, the Rivers people hailed him into what he is today, into the personality he has created himself into today. They hailed him into becoming a dictator. And Wike ruled River State as a dictator for 8 years. Because if you come against Wike, if you speak against Wike, he comes after your businesses, he comes after your properties, he looks for ways to intimidate you. Now, this intimidation is part of what has kept a lot of Rivers people who are supposed to speak out, not to speak out. They held back and they decided to keep their mouth shut instead of actually dying or instead of actually getting themselves into problems. Now, this has been the pattern of Wike for the past 8 years in River State. So he wanted to continue with that same pattern, bringing in SIM. We saw what happened during the elections, how opposition political parties were stopped from campaigning, how people who didn't support him in the PDP, where their filling stations were shut down and all that. So when you see this intimidation, naturally, you find it, people would find it difficult, even those who are supposed to speak out will find it difficult to speak out. And that is exactly the problem of River State. Now, this has also translated into the ways he has also handled elected officers. In short, in River State, we didn't have elections. We just had Wike selecting a group of persons and forcing them into River State. And we saw, of course, he had some level of federal mind. And let's not also forget the area of violence that has always happened in River State. Opposition parties members are killed on a daily basis. And nobody's talking about this whole thing. But these are things happening in our country. These are things happening in River State. So Governor Wike himself created a kind of fear amongst Rivers people. Naturally, the average Rivers man is not timid or intimidated. But unfortunately, under Governor Wike, you found a situation where people were intimidated, people were harassed, people were arrested, people were detained on his instruction. So let's be frank about this particular issue, because over time this has been a part of his approach to politics. So when we talk about his high-handedness is written everywhere in River State. It didn't just start, and it's not going to end if nothing is done about it. That is why some of us are pleased with what is happening in River State, with the stance that the likes of Governor Sim is actually taking. We are pleased with it, because this madness in River State must stop.
But the people were complicit.
When you say the people, I agree with you to an extent. I agree with you to an extent, because I wouldn't say everybody, because like I said earlier on, Wike is a creation of Rivers people. Rivers people created the monster in Wike. Let's be honest about it. Rivers people created him because they urged him on when he continued with this his high-handedness. Every day on social media, you see people hailing Wike, calling him all kinds of names and all that, urging him on in all the evil deeds he was doing in Rivers State. And now, Rivers people are tired. They feel that, oh, we did, at this point, let me tell you, at this point, Rivers people are tired of Wike as a dictator. If they see a new dictator, they will definitely accept him gladly. It is not because people like Sim. That is why they are supporting Sim. The reason why people are supporting Sim today in the Rivers State is because people are tired of Wike's high-handedness in the state. How a man would hold the entire state to ransom. Wike alone will hold the entire state to ransom, intimidate everybody. Everybody is scared of Wike in Rivers State. Nobody speaks out. Even the pastors in Rivers State do not speak out.
Real quickly, please, I just want to get the facts of what is happening on ground. There are many stories making the rounds. And good morning to you, sir. Thank you for your work. Number one, can you confirm this? Can you confirm the sack of the local government chairmen across the state? Can you confirm that 23 of them have been sacked? There's that story making the round. Can you also confirm about the CJN, because the Judicial Council should have a hand in it. So when we hear that the governor has sacked the CJN, a lot of people are taken aback as regards that. Also, can you also confirm that the reversal done yesterday as regards the new speaker that was put in there, can you also confirm the stories about that also being reversed? Can you also confirm, was the governor shot at, or it was tear gas canisters that was shot at the governor while he was coming?
Okay, thank you so much, Rufai. Yes, I start from the very rare, that is the last question, the confirmation, the question of was the governor shot at. Yes, there were tear gas canisters while making his way into the assembly complex. Then there were gunshots, but whether that particular gunshot was was aimed at the Governor Fubara, that is what I would not be able to confirm. But there were gunshots while he was trying to make his way with his entourage into the burnt section of the assembly complex as at yesterday morning. We were on ground. It's just that the security operatives that did not allow anybody to bring out a phone, let alone a camera. That I could confirm. Then for the chief judge of the state, as at yesterday, there were so many rumors bandied around. Like you rightly said, I don't think it is in the position of the governor to do that. But of course, when things are upside down like this politically, there is going to be a lot of pronouncements that will come. Even as I speak with you now, what is still making the rounds here is that the state chief judge, that is the person of Simeon Amadi, has been relieved of his position. But another question you ask is it in the place of the incumbent governor to relieve the chief judge of the state of his position? That is another question that needed to be answered. 3, Edison Ehe, the former leader, yesterday had convened his own plenary somewhere inside the government house, and it was after that plenary that he came out to declare that Martins Ameule, who is the speaker who had suspended him and some of his co-travelers in his own faction of this crisis, have been relieved of his appointment. That also is still hanging in the air, and so I must tell you, Rufai, that all these things are still hanging. Whether they are going to be reversed or they are going to stand the test of time, the next 1, 2, 3 weeks, nobody knows which side the political pendulum will swing. But that is the position right now. While the former speaker I should refer to, alleged former speaker side is claiming this man, that is Edison Ehe, is no longer the majority leader of the House. Edison Ehe, faction of the crisis, is also claiming that he is now the authentic speaker of the House, and Bright Ameule has been relieved of his appointment. Back to you, Rufai.
Local government chairman, are the 23 of them gone? Because we also heard that. Local government chairman.
Yes, that story is also still there. But as at this last night, late last night, and this morning, where we put a call through to about 2 of them, they said nothing like that has happened. This morning, we called one of them. I may not be able to mention his name now as we speak. He told me, Andy Omano of Arise, I am in my office as we speak. So, where is the sack? That until they are taken through the process, just like the governor is asking for that. If you want me, if you are saying I should be impeached, what offense have I committed? It was the same thing, that if that faction is saying this is what should be done, they cannot be unilaterally asked to vacate their office. But of course, you know, between you and I, you know that the governor had the right to sack, to fire, because in Nigeria politics since 1999 to today, not just the Rivers State government, every other governor in this state, in this country, does whatever he wants to do with the local government, which is an aberration. But I think that is also still hanging in the air. Probably as the day progresses today, we'll get another development as to what is trending or what is happening concerning these 23 local government chairmen.
Well, for purposes of clarity, Andy, yesterday we first heard that 24 members of the House of Assembly had impeached the majority leader. But then later, the majority leader said, he had been appointed speaker by 26 lawmakers. Do we have up to 40 lawmakers in the Rivers State House of Assembly, where you have, 23 local governments? So let's have a sense of what this is all about. Could it possibly be that, some persons were hired on both sides? What actually is the situation on the ground?
Thank you so much, Dr. Abati. Yes, do we have, how many legislators do we have in the Rivers State House of Assembly? There are 32 in all. And if different factions are claiming, 24 sat and the majority leader has been impeached in the person of Edis Inehe, and another 26 sitting and claiming that the Speaker of the House, Martins Ameule, has also been impeached. Your question is very apt, because if one faction is claiming 24 and the other is claiming 26, what that tells me is that number, I'm not a mathematician, but it's more than the 32 that are supposed to be legislators in Rivers State House of Assembly as we speak. In Nigeria politics, politicians, so many of them, can claim what does not exist. And so, what do I mean by that? In either side, I don't want to believe that dummy that 26 sat or 24 sat and sacked their principal. The number was not up to that. But of course, there's been claim and counterclaims since yesterday. But if you use your teeth to count, your tongue to count your teeth, you'll discover that for that particular number that sat to sack any of these principal officers, the dramatist personnel, or rather political dramatist personnel, are just playing political games. It's not up to that number, whether 24 or 26 on either side.
But has anybody heard any from former Governor Wike, whom you referred to in your opening narrative? Has he said anything? Because you just said people are going to Abuja to go and meet with him. And I guess does that clearly confirm that he's the one behind the crisis?
Well, no word have been heard from the immediate past governor, Dr. Abathi. But of course, political hangers-on and those who we want to play their political paymaster would want to peddle all sorts of rumor, especially when you have political situations like this at hand. But the man who most of these are being adduced to, we've not heard from him. Probably by the end of today, we should be able to hear, because as we speak now, we got information that the elder statesmen from Rivers State are already at the Omagwa Airport, preparatory to taking off to Abuja to meet with the Federal Capital Territory Minister.